Mark Carney at the 2025 Progress Summit. Canada will never again depend on the U.S. Unveils Vision Canada Strong. Nostalgia is not a strategy.
This is fantastic to be at this gathering. So maybe I'll frame it a bit this way, which is our election and what Canadians were feeling, like in many electorates, but in a slightly different way, is a sense of loss of control. That's what happens when inflation is too high, and that's what happens when there is a sense that migration isn't being adequately managed. It's also what happened, and the most sharp version of this was, of course, the tariff relationship with the United States, when all of a sudden our largest trading partner was fundamentally changing the relationship.
Carney began by describing what Canadians felt during the last election, a sense of lost control. Inflation was high, migration was poorly managed, and worst of all, U.S. tariffs suddenly hit Canada. This, Carney said, revealed our deepest vulnerability. For decades, Canada leaned on Washington, but Trump's tariffs proved a single decision in the White House could disrupt millions of Canadian lives. Carney's response? Fight back. He redirected the tariff revenue into Canadian workers, funding jobs and retraining programs. His message was clear. Canada will not be bullied.
So our election and our policy was first and foremost, it was fight the tariffs, have a reaction. We had one of the strongest reactions. Protect our workers. So there were many ways we were doing that, but one of the things is we were taking all of the tariff revenue, putting it back into workers, helping workers retain their jobs, but also retrain, protect our communities against crime. But the core, the core message was build. And it was to build and build in a positive way. You need a positive agenda, and it matters how we build. And I'll just leave you with a couple of core messages that ground our approach in the election, but very much in governing. First and foremost, we can give ourselves more than any foreign government can take away. So our ability to have one Canadian economy, we have a bunch of internal trade barriers, we're removing all of those.
But Carney didn't stop at resistance. He pivoted to building. He reminded Canadians that what we create at home will always be stronger than what any foreign government can take away. He spoke about removing internal trade barriers, opening new trade corridors, investing in clean energy, and positioning Canada as a global leader in artificial intelligence. This vision wasn't only about economics, it was about independence, a future where Canada's fate is never dictated by Washington.
Our ability to build for the future, new trade corridors, clean energy, artificial intelligence, diversify with partners, all of that is much greater than what could be taken away, even in the worst tariff scenario. So you have a positive element to that. The second thing that we emphasize is how we build. So we build as a nation. We build first and foremost thinking about workers. So the message to Canadians has been, we are going to create not hundreds of thousands of jobs, but hundreds of thousands of careers in the skilled trades and other skilled areas, and setting up in parallel with major projects and investments, apprenticeships, skilled training, so that Canadians are ready to take advantage of that.
Carney also addressed everyday struggles, rising living costs, stagnant wages, and unaffordable housing. He said governments cannot simply preach values. They must deliver. That's why his first actions were to cut taxes for 22 million Canadians, reduce costs for first-time homebuyers, and eliminate a divisive carbon tax that had split the country.
First thing we did is we cut taxes for the middle class. We cut taxes for 22 million Canadians, boom, right away. First thing we did, we cut a tax effectively for young Canadians when they're buying their first-time home, cut taxes on carbon, which was also the direct carbon tax, which had become a divisive issue. It was in textbook a good policy, but a divisive issue. So very tangible things that directly affected affordability, cost of living. Those are fiscal choices, but they had to be made, and they're delivering, and Canadians are beginning to feel first that. Second, building in a way that is as inclusive as possible.
Next came his ambitious housing plan, doubling the pace of construction, using Canadian materials and technology, and embedding affordability in every project. But this wasn't just economic policy. It was nation building. Perhaps his most striking moment was when he admitted what no Canadian leader had dared to say. We relied too heavily on one trading partner. This was his direct challenge to Trump's America. Carney stressed that Canada must build at home and diversify abroad, trading not with everyone, but with partners who share our values and belief in fair, open markets.
All of what I've said has actually nothing to do with U.S. tariff policy, and it goes back to something I said earlier, and we say over and over again. We have learned the lesson that we need to be, we use the expression, masters in our own home. We were over-reliant on one trading partner. We can address it by building at home and diversifying, we'll get to it I'm sure, with like-minded trading partners around the world. That's not everybody in the world, but countries that share our values, share a commitment to open markets, and again, that can more than compensate for what's happening elsewhere. And the key thing is it gives people agency. We're in charge. We're not reliant on a decision that's taken outside our border.
Carney then outlined his broader vision, Canada Strong. He explained that while Canada's foreign policy has always been value-driven, it must now also be about strength built at home and shared with like-minded allies.
You know, our core policy, our core message in the election campaign, our core policy now it's called Canada Strong. Okay, we're building Canada Strong in a variety of ways. And our foreign policy, to link it to foreign policy, has traditionally been a value-based foreign policy. Okay. We're realizing that it's not just the strength of our values, but the value of our strength. Mm-hmm. And how do we build that strength? It's making choices at home in terms of defense and security, and it's marrying that strength with like-minded partners. And what we're living through, all of us, what we're living through is not a transition, it's a rupture. Mm-hmm. It's a big change in the trading system. And we're not going back. Nostalgia is not a strategy there. Big change in geopolitical risk. We have agency, but we have to build strength at home, find those like-minded partners, bring together. And in doing so, we deliver for our citizens, but also it gives a confidence and a purpose to the country that is empowering.
The defining line of the summit, we're not going back. Nostalgia is not a strategy. Carney declared this is not a mere transition, it is a rupture. The old systems of trade and geopolitics are gone. The question now, who adapts and who gets left behind? Carney's answer, Canada will adapt, Canada will lead, Canada will stand strong. The Progress Summit was not just a gathering of leaders, it was Carney's stage to deliver a clear warning to Trump, to Washington, and to Canadians. Our future cannot depend on the United States. Instead, Carney envisions a Canada that builds at home, diversifies abroad, and partners with nations who share our vision. Canada Strong is not just a slogan, it is a survival strategy. This marks the beginning of a new chapter, where Canada steps out of America's shadow and takes its place as a true global leader.